Hey, buddy. What are you doing? Sorry, this is gonna be loud. I'm gonna pull you close. Hi, buddy. Hey, guys. My name is Blade. That right there is my son, Jimmy, and I know it has been a while. I went on my trip to Ohio, had a great time, got to see the Football Hall of Fame, got to hang out with some cool people. And then when I came back, the jet lag set in, and I spent most of the week just trying to adjust to getting back into school and work and all of that. And then the following week, I had to get my wisdom teeth pulled, and that had me out. My jaw is still sore as I'm talking to you guys. Um, but I'm back and I'm ready to talk about everything that happened last week in NFL and in the NFL and make some potentially really bad predictions for next week in the NFL. Before I start, I did want to mention my predictions over the weeks that I missed. In total, on the weeks that I missed, I went 34 and 11, going 13 and 3 in week 8, 12 and 3 on week 9, and 9 to 5 in week 10. All right, let's get into week 11. If you don't know how this works, I'm going to keep a record right here in this corner. If I got a prediction right, that number will be green. If I got a prediction wrong, that number will be red. You guys ready? Let's get into this.
These guys are freaky.
On Thursday, we had the Commanders and the Eagles. I thought the Commanders would take this one, but that didn't happen. The Eagles started this with a pretty nice drive, but had to settle with a kick that missed. The Commanders responded by running with Brian Robinson for the first points of the game. This was followed by another Eagles missed field goal. It wouldn't be until late in the second that we would get some other points on the board, with the Eagles finally making a kick. From here, the teams would exchange field goals, making the score 10-6. Then, in the fourth, Hurts would score a touchdown with the booty shove to take the lead. And then you'll never believe what happened. The kicker missed, making the score 10-12 Eagles. The Eagles then built on that lead with two Barkley touchdowns, that second one coming from a pretty rough interception. Then, at the end of the fourth, the Commanders would score in a very close touchdown with former Eagle Zach Ertz to end this game 26-18. I will forever enjoy the Commanders-Eagles matchups. They're usually pretty good, pretty scrappy games. You usually get some pretty surprising results. I like those matchups. They're fun. Then on Sunday, we had the Packers and the Bears. I had the Packers winning this, and they did. The Packers jumped out to an early lead, scoring on their first drive. Then, midway through the first, the Bears kicked a field goal to make the score 7-3. The Packers put together a nice drive in the second, but that would get killed by a goal line interception. Then, at the end of the second, the Bears would take the lead with a touchdown, then extend that lead with a kick in the third. This was followed by the teams trading touchdowns, with the Packers taking the lead, and then the Bears taking it right back with the DeAndre Swift dash to make it 14-19. However, this is where the Bears stopped. From here, the Packers would score one last touchdown to end this game 2019. It's a year. I mean, Astros got to the World Series, but they didn't win the World Series, so it's The Bears did have a chance to win on a walk-off field goal, but that kick was no good. Then we had the Lions and the Jags, and man, I knew the Lions were going to win. I said the Lions were going to win, but I didn't think it'd be by vicious murder. The Jags got the first points with a kick, and then the Lions dropped 28 points on them. The Jags kick another field goal to end the half. They don't score again. The Lions run up the score to 52. The Lions won 52-6. I think that's a scoreagami, is it not? I think it's a scoreagami. Crazy scoreagami. Jameson Williams did the Marshawn Lynch. Goff went for 412 yards for 4 touchdowns and no interceptions, completing 24 for 29 attempts. The Lions are terrifying. Next. Then we had the Dolphins and the Raiders. I had the Dolphins winning this, and they did. The Dolphins scored on their first drive. After this, the teams exchanged kicks, with the Raiders getting their first points, the Dolphins extending their lead, and then the Raiders making it a 10-6 game. Then they played ping pong with touchdowns, going back and forth to make the score 24-19. However, the Raiders would stop scoring here. From here, the Dolphins would score one last touchdown and then one last kick to bring us to our final of 34-19. After that, we had the Rams and the Patriots. I had the Rams winning this, and they did. The Pats scored first with a touchdown on their opening drive, and then the Rams responded by scoring 2 touchdowns. This was followed by the Pats making it a 4-point game with the kick. The Rams had a chance to extend their lead, but the kick was no good. However, they would be redeemed by a 69-yard, nice, Cooper Kupp touchdown to make it 21-10. The Pats then made it a 1-score game with a kick. After this, Colby Parkinson would score one last Rams touchdown and wipe out some poor old woman just minding her own business.
Cleaned out right there.
Hopefully everybody's all right.
Fell right into, man.
Nice throw.
After this, the Patriots would score a touchdown, the kick was blocked, and a field goal to bring us to our 28-22 final. The final Patriots drive would be killed by an interception. After that, we had the Browns and the Saints. It was kind of common sense to pick the Saints here. The Saints scored first with Taysom Hill, and then at the end of the first, the Browns would get their first points with an 89-yard Jerry Jeudy touchdown. They would try going for 2 here, but would not get it. I felt like that was a really weird call so early in the game. But
it is what it is. It is what it is.
this would be followed by a 71-yard Marquez Scantling touchdown. After that, the Browns would attempt to kick a field goal, but that kick was no good. The Saints would get very close to scoring another touchdown, but Taysom Hill would go down and lose the ball, and the Browns would recover. The Browns would have 3 chances to score here. The first kick was no good. Thankfully for the Browns, there was a holding call on the defense, giving them another shot at the touchdown. They failed to capitalize and had to settle for another kick. That was no good. After this, the Browns would score 2 touchdowns to tie the game at 14 going into the 4th. Unfortunately for Cleveland, this is where the Browns stopped scoring. From here, the Saints would bulk up their lead to 35, where this game would end. Then we had the Ravens and the Steelers. I made a friend upset by saying that I thought the Ravens would win this. Fortunately for him, karma let the Steelers win. This game started with Derrick Henry losing the ball and giving it to the Steelers. However, the Steelers would only get a field goal out of it. The Ravens would get downfield to try and kick a field goal, but it was no good. Then, after some battling, Tucker had a chance to redeem himself, and that kick was no good. Is Justin Tucker washed now?
I don't know.
Towards the end of the second, Derrick Henry would give the Ravens a lead with a touchdown. This would be followed by the Ravens losing the ball in their next drive and the Steelers recovering it. To close out the second, the Steelers would kick another field goal to take the lead back, and then another one to open the third, making the score 12-7. Then Tucker would finally make a kick to bring the Ravens within 2. But then guess what the Steelers did? They kicked another field goal. In the 4th, it looked like Russ would finally get a touchdown in this game, but that was picked off in the Russ zone. The Ravens would then give the ball back, and the Steelers would kick one last field goal. After this, the Ravens would score a touchdown to bring us to our final of 18-16. Whatever the Steelers are paying Chris Boswell, it's not enough. Because what do you mean you beat the Ravens and got an 18-point game without scoring a single touchdown? And it's your second time in the season doing it. It's your second, because like the first game of the season, that's all you did. How? Whatever you guys are paying Chris Boswell, make it more. After that, we have the Vikings and the Titans. It was kind of a no-brainer to go with the Vikings here. The Titans scored first with 3 late in the first, and then the Vikings responded with 7. The Vikings then extended their lead by a touchdown following a penalty that honestly shouldn't have been called, but it's funny because it's the Titans. The Vikings continued to extend their lead with the field goal. This was followed by a very impressive 98-yard Titans touchdown to make it 16-10. See, I can be like sort of nice to you guys. Just a little bit though. Don't get used to it. Towards the end of the third, the Vikings would score one more touchdown to make it 23-10, but that's where they stopped scoring. Fortunately, the Titans could only kick one last field goal to bring us to our 23-13 final. After that, we have the Colts and the Jets. I said the Colts would win this one, and they did. The Colts scored first with a kick and then extended that lead to 13-0 with Richardson taking in one himself and then a field goal. The Jets would get their first points at the end of the second with a Breece Hall touchdown, then would take the lead thanks to a touchdown due to a fumble recovery. After this, teams would trade field goals, then the Jets would extend their lead with Kenny Yeboah's first NFL touchdown. This was followed by a Colts touchdown and a failed 2-point conversion to make it 22-24. After this, the Jets would kick one more field goal closer to the end of the second. This would be followed by the Colts closing it out with a walk-off touchdown to end the game 28-27. This game got the Jets GM fired, so Joe Douglas, sorry, dude. I mean, it's not my fault. I shouldn't be apologizing to you. Well, maybe it is my fault. Maybe if I had predicted the Jets to win, they would have won. Oh no. This game got GM Joe Douglas fired, so. The Falcons took on the Broncos. I said the Falcons would win this, and the Broncos had their best game all season. The Broncos scored first with a tutty on their opening drive, then the Falcons responded with 3. This would be followed by the Broncos extending their lead with another touchdown. Again, this is followed by a Falcons kick, and that would be it from the Falcons. 2 kicks. That's it. 2 kicks. From here, they would get locked down as Bo Nix and the boys extend their lead to our final score of 38-6. Bo Nix went for 307 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, completing 28 of 33 pass attempts. After that, we had the Seahawks and the 49ers. I said the 49ers would win this one, and they didn't. The Seahawks scored with the field goal in the first, and then the 49ers responded with the Brock Purdy touchdown. Then, in the second, the Seahawks would make it a 1-point game with another kick. The score would stay this way until early in the third, when the 49ers would extend their lead further with the kick. This was followed by the Seahawks taking the lead with a touchdown to make it 13-10. Then, in the fourth, the 49ers would take the lead back with a touchdown. However, this is where the 49ers would stop. From here, the Seahawks would score one more touchdown to end this game 2017. No comment. This game would end with the 49ers doing some weird lateral passes. I don't know. Then we had the Chiefs and the Bills. I said the Chiefs would win because they are the Chiefs. And the Bills did it. Let's go, Buffalo. Let's go, Buffalo. Hey, hey, hey. Mahomes started this game by getting picked off on his first attempt. Mwah, beautiful, golden, love to see it. This allowed the Bills to score first with a touchdown. The kick was no good. Then at the start of the second, the Chiefs would score with Xavier Worthy to take the lead. This was followed by the Bills taking that lead right back. Then after a Josh Allen interception, the Chiefs were able to take the lead again with a Noah Gray touchdown. The Bills would end the second with the field goal for the lead. The Bills would then start the fourth with a touchdown to extend their lead. This would be followed by the Chiefs responding with a touchdown to make it a 2-point game, but this is where the Chiefs stopped scoring. From here, the Bills would score one last touchdown to hand the Chiefs their first loss of the season. Very poetic for it to be the Bills to do that. You alright? That was a weird noise you just made, buddy. Very poetic. Hey, let's go, Buffalo. Then on Sunday night, we had the Bengals and the Chargers. I said the Bengals would win this, and they would get very close, but the Chargers would pull through despite both teams trying very hard to lose this game. The Bengals scored first with 3, followed by the Chargers responding with 7. It looked like the Chargers were going to jump to 14 thanks to a scoop and score, but the runner was ruled down. The Bengals then made it a 1-point game with a kick, only for the Chargers to extend their lead to 24-6 before the half. The Chargers would start the third with a field goal to make it 27-6. From here, it looked like the Chargers were going to charger it, as the Bengals would work their way to a tie game. The Bengals would have 2 attempts to kick a field goal for the win. They both missed left. Eventually, the Chargers would score with Dobbins to end the game 34-27. That brings us to Monday Night Football. with my Texans taking on the Dallas Cowboys. I said the Texans would win this, and they did, though I can't lie and I won't hold you. I was a little nervous. Just a little nervous. The Texans would score first with a Joe Mixon and then end the first with a Joe Mixon touchdown. The Cowboys would open the second with a 64-yard Turpin touchdown. Then the Texans would extend their lead with a kick, making it 17-7. This would be followed by the Cowboys kicking to make it 17-10. However, that's where they would stop scoring. There was a chance for the Cowboys to get closer in the third, but the kick was no good. This would be followed by the Texans extending their lead with the kick. The Cowboys technically did kick a field goal to bring the score closer, but somebody on the defense slapped the kicker's head or something, so the kick was taken off for a touchdown attempt. They couldn't capitalize. Hi, Editor Blade here, doing the edit for the editing. I failed to mention how this kick that would have gotten the Cowboys points was 64 yards, and they basically traded it for... I don't say basically, they traded for nothing. The penalty brought them back, and they got nothing out of it. So they erased a 64-yard field goal for nothing. Cowboys. From here, the Texans would take off, scoring with a thick 6 and one last touchdown to bring us to our 34-10 final. Joe Mixon had himself a game, and the Texans Twitter admin is very funny. Before the game, a piece of sheet metal would fall from the roof of AT&T Stadium. After the game, the Texans posted this. I'm a little bit sad that we got robbed of a Diggs versus Diggs matchup. Hopefully we re-sign him. I don't know. I want Diggs back. Yeah. Okay, so that brings us to my Week 12 predictions. This is where I'll go over all of the matchups for next week, and I tell you who I think is going to win. This has the potential to be really bad. Alright? Just bear with me, okay? You ready? Let's get into it.
These guys are freaky.
So, on Thursday we have the Steelers and the Browns. If the Steelers don't win this, I'll be shocked. Then we have the Chiefs and the Panthers. Unfortunately, the Chiefs go 10-1 here, though it would be incredibly funny to see the Panthers beat them. Then we have Minnesota and the Bears. Minnesota takes this. Then we have the Titans and my Texans. I'm hoping the football gods bless us here and we get back on track. Then the Lions go to Indy to decimate and kill the Colts. Then the Pats go to Miami. The Dolphins take this. Tampa Bay is going to face the Giants. This is an easy dub for Tampa. The Cowboys take on the Commanders. The Commanders take this. Denver goes to Vegas. I think I see Bo Nix and the gang winning this. The 49ers take on the Packers. I have the Packers here, but this game has that can be anyone's game kind of vibe. I feel like it's going to be a pretty close game, but I'm going to stick with the Packers. Then there's the Seahawks and the Cardinals. This one is a bit odd. I'm going to say the Seahawks here, but again, this has the potential to be a close game that can go either way. Then on Sunday night, we have the Eagles and the Rams. I'm thinking the Eagles here. Then on Monday night, we have the Ravens and the Chargers. I feel like the Ravens take this one. Alright, that does it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe here if you want to watch more, see more awful predictions, hang out. It's cool, we can hang out. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, leave a comment on your thoughts, I'd love to hear them. I'll see you guys next week, peace. After that we had the Viking, wait, I wasn't ready, you weren't ready. I need to sneeze. Bless me, thank me. After that, I'm not looking at you. Try to look at you because you're important to me, you know. I gotta make sure that I give you all of my attention. All right, tell your friends to get with my friends and then we can be friends. After that we had the Vikings and the Titans.